Good morning and welcome to 7 News. I am Lydia Martin and passing over to Scott McCall to tell you the weather.
Thank you, Lydia. Well, this morning we will have a low of 15 and a high of 35, and rain and thunderstorms throughout the day. All schools will be cancelled for today, as the storms are too dangerous to be out in. So make sure to stay indoors unless told otherwise. Thank you, Lydia, and back to you.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome to an exclusive news report. As we all know, the French Revolution lasted from 1789 to 1799 and happened in France. Well, tonight we have one very special story. She is all the way from the 1700s. She is coming to tell us about her life story and the French Revolution. Please welcome Marie Antoinette.
Thank you, Lydia. I am very excited to be here tonight. And when I was around, we had very limited technology, so this is all new to me.
Okay, so Marie, I have a few questions to ask about your past. Is that okay with you? And some of them may be hard to answer, so just try as hard as you can to give us a detailed answer.
Yes, that is fine with me, Lydia. Please ask away.
I understand that at the age of 15, you were arranged to be married to Louis XVI. You were very young. Did you want this to happen, and what happened when you first met Louis XVI?
After we first met, we were escorted to see Louis's grandfather, where he blessed our marriage. We then took 7 years to start planning the wedding, due to our duties of being the new king and queen, and also getting to know each other. I was very scared at the start and was starting to regret it. But then it was exciting becoming the new queen. Living in the elegant palace was a dream come true. When we finally decided to get married, we were escorted by 57 carriages, 117 footmen, and 376 horses. It was a very big wedding that the whole town came to watch.
Wow, that must have been one very interesting wedding to watch. So Marie, I believe you are very well known for your fashion sense and jewellery. What made you get into fashion, and what was one of your very well-known outfits?
Yes, I was a very big follower of fashion. One of my biggest outfits was the chemise à la reine. It was a very elegant gown, and it was a white, loose flowing gown. It also had a colourful sash around the waist. But this gown was a shock for the women, as no corset was worn. This was to let the body be shown. Shortly later, the women got used to the idea and used the gown as a symbol of their increased liberation.
What was your favourite piece of jewellery to wear in public?
I did have a favourite pair of earrings. My husband Louis XVI gave them to me as a present. They were beautiful diamond pear-shaped earrings. But unfortunately, when I was arrested, they were taken away from me. There was also my favourite necklace. It had gorgeous white, yellow and pink diamonds around it. The price of the necklace was $3.7 million. These were my favourite pieces of jewellery.
I would love to have seen all of the diamond necklaces and rings. Now, you were accused of saying, "Let them eat cake," to your French subjects. How did it make you feel, and did this ruin your reputation?
Yes, I was accused of saying that when they had no bread. I understand where the people were coming from, because I was the main person who would not understand the poverty was very low. But it is definitely not true. The saying was around for 30 years to as long as a century before I was blamed. There is no evidence as to which I said it. It did ruin my reputation because they thought I was being snobby and selfish. But I do understand where the people were coming from for blaming me.
That must have been really hard on you to go through with that. In the making of the French Revolution, the people accused you of starting it since you were the wealthiest person. So my question is, who started the French Revolution and why?
The town actually started the French Revolution. It took them a while to finally burst and come out to say something. But this unfortunately led to a war against the rich and poor. They believed that their taxes were too high and that the rich were buying things they don't need. I was then unfortunately blamed for this, as me being the wealthiest person in town. I didn't know that until now. I understand that you were named an Austrian whore due to being snobby and doing anything and everything you could to undermine the French nation. You were also a target to the public. So how did you feel about this, and why were you the target to the public eye? I was the typical target due to my wealth. The people were poor and wanted to take action and put the blame on anyone but themselves. Because of this, the ordinary people of France became convinced that the monarchy and nobility were working together against them. And I still remained a target during this time. To get the name Austrian whore, cartoonists and pamphleters started writing false information about me in their work. I was not pleased with this, but I could not change the public's opinions. That must have been very hard on you, Marie. Thank you, and we will be right back after this short break.
That'll be fine.
Welcome back to 7 News. Right now we are asking Marie Antoinette some questions from her past. Now, Marie, in 1785, your reputation was harmed when a thief impersonated you and stole a diamond necklace and smuggled it to London, only to be sold into tiny pieces. Do you believe this made people think worse of you, or did they not care? Yes, I think it did have a great impact on the way people say they treated me. I believe this is true because the public eye think I would be capable of something like that I am selfish enough to do that to the people. I am sure that the people wouldn't have actually thought of you like that. They would have just been scared and confused. After this, you and Louis XVI fled to Paris, where you went to the Austrian border, where your brother waited with his troops, ready to invade France. What was the purpose of this? My brother and his troops were ready to invade France, where they would then regain the power to the monarchy and the nobility. But this soon enough ended badly. I was then not only formally known by the public as a foreigner, but a traitor. I felt very upset because I was definitely not a traitor, but yes, a foreigner. That must have been so harsh on you. I understand that there was a mob of Parisian women who had protested that the prices of bread and other goods were too high. They marched through the town where they captured you and your family. Where did they take you, and were you scared? I was terrified, but it was nothing I hadn't seen before. They dragged me and my family back to the city and imprisoned us in the Tuileries, which is a beautiful castle when used the right way. But the way the public used it was not correct. We were kept in cells and were very closely watched by guards. That is quite a story to listen to. I'm scared just hearing you say it. Thank you, but for now we have a short ad.
Okay.
What?
The 80s called. They want their store back.
It's time for a new Radio Shack. Come see what's possible when we do things together.
Welcome back to 7 News. We are just interviewing Marie Antoinette. Marie, are you ready for more questions? I sincerely am, Lydia. The family returned back to Paris, where Louis XVI was returned to the throne. But this shortly went downhill, as the people started to believe that their enemies were not the noble, but the monarchy themselves. After this, in 1972, to test the loyalties and duties of you and Louis XVI,
there was a war declared on Austria. Did this point in time scare you? And was this experiment war on Austria successful or a failure?
This time was very stressful, being the queen and popular target, but I tried to push myself through, but the war was not successful. It ended with my family being locked away in a tower. Also, at this time, my loyal best friend was released into the streets of Paris, only to be slaughtered and to have her body parts paraded around the town. This was an act of betrayal and war. I was also then accused of sexually abusing my son. I was very heartbroken by this statement. The public accused me of something I would never do to anyone, let alone my son. I was very heartbroken.
That brings a tear to my eye, Marie. I'm sure you would never do that to your son. And lastly, the tragic occurrence where your life ended from the terrible events within the French Revolution happened in 1793. I understand that this must have been very taunting for you. Or was it not? You were put on trial for many different reasons, false information that the public had used against you. Can you take us through exactly what happened, and how did you feel at this time?
Yes, firstly I was put on trial for treason and theft, and false and disturbing sexual abuse against my own son. After a 2-day trial, I was found guilty, which I definitely was not. But I didn't want to fight it anymore, so I didn't speak up. I was then sentenced to the same punishment as Louis XVI, my dear, beloved husband and best friend, execution. Before the time came, I wrote a letter to my sister-in-law, Elizabeth. I am calm, as people wear whose conscience is clear. This meant a lot to me, and it came from the bottom of my heart. I was then executed. It was a fast death, and I learnt that not everything goes your way, and you have to accept that.
Wow, Marie, I'm speechless, really. That was such an overwhelming story. Your life journey sounds so hard to cope with, but you pushed through that. You're a very strong lady. Thank you, Marie, for your life story. That is all we have time for tonight. Thank you for coming out tonight. I will let you get back to your generation.
It was all my pleasure, and thank you for having me here tonight. It was fun telling the whole world my life story, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, Marie, and thank you for watching 7 News. Good night.